The story opens with our main character Rantaro heading to school. People seem to fear him, perceiving him as intimidating. On his way, he spots his school friends getting into trouble with some delinquents. These thugs deliberately bumped into Rantaro's friends looking for a fight. They even asked about that scary guy from Rantaro's class. Just then, Rantaro appears, and the delinquents, genuinely terrified by his appearance, immediately flee. Rantaro tries to tell his friends to avoid fights, but they blame him, saying the delinquents sought them out because Rantaro had hit someone. Rantaro denies remembering anything. He then recalls a scene from the previous night, a couple fighting, with the girl slapping the boy and leaving. Rantaro, feeling sympathetic, approached the boy, but the boy screamed in fear upon seeing Rantaro's face. His friends confirm that approaching someone at night with his scary face would obviously frighten them. We learn that boys and girls' colleges are separate but adjacent, and the students harbor a strong mutual dislike. This animosity is immediately evident as Rantaro's group passes a group of girls. One girl drops her handkerchief. A boy picks it up to return it, but the girl refuses it, disdainfully saying she won't take anything his hand has touched. Rantaro's friends lament that the girls never change. Still holding grudges, the girls' school is an elite institution for wealthy families, while the boys' school is more like a public school with uncertain futures. This disparity fuels the girls' prejudice against the boys, whom they perceive as bad, despite the boys being generally harmless. Rantaro notes the girls' school always keeps its curtains drawn to avoid seeing any boys. Later, the boys plan to go to karaoke, but Rantaro declines, needing to go home early. His mother scolds him for being late, to which Rantaro explains the school's distance and the rain. He mentions he's not good at this job, and no one comes to their restaurant because of him. His mother reassures him that there's only one customer, and that he can handle it before leaving. Rantaro changes into his bakery uniform, explaining his family runs a bakery, and he occasionally helps due to staff shortages. He's kept this a secret from his friends. He then looks for the one customer his mother mentioned, finding a small girl sitting with an astonishing number of empty plates. He wonders how such a small girl could eat so much. Their eyes meet. The girl panics, chokes on cake, and Rantaro quickly brings her water. He thinks she's a middle schooler. The girl thanks him and flees. Rantaro again assumes she was scared of him. His mother returns, identifying the girl as Waguri, a frequent customer. Rantaro believes Waguri won't return because she's scared of him. His mother chides him not to judge everyone by his appearance and not to take responsibility for everything. She adds that if Waguri doesn't come back, she'll bring her in herself. Later, in class, Rantaro is still thinking about the incident, planning to apologize to the girl at her middle school. His friends invite him to eat lunch together, but Rantaro declines, saying he's not in the mood and they should go without him. One friend then remarks that Rantaro intentionally pushes people away, believing he's not good enough. Rantaro thinks about approaching the girl he's scared at the bakery, but cancels the plan, fearing he'll scare her again. At home, his mother tells him Waguri wants to see him. Rantaro finally meets Waguri and is about to apologize when she suggests they eat something first. As they sit, Rantaro is surprised that she wants to treat him in his own shop. Waguri apologizes for running away yesterday without a word, offering him cake. Rantaro pretends he doesn't want it, but they banter playfully before she eats the cake, finding it delicious despite feeling a bit awkward. Rantaro is satisfied seeing her enjoy it. Waguri mentions how surprised he must have been by all the cake she ate yesterday. Rantaro denies it, but inwardly agrees. Waguri explains she stayed longer because of the rain. They exchange names. Rantaro is surprised by how comfortably Waguri speaks to him, noting she's the first person, other than his mother, who isn't afraid of him. Waguri then confesses she didn't run away because of his face, and it wasn't her first time at his shop, or his first time helping her, though he might not have noticed. Rantaro yells, asking why she ran then, causing his mother and another woman in the shop to scold him for being loud. Waguri blushes and explains she ran because no boy had ever stared at her for so long, making her shy. Rantaro is flustered, while others usually run in fear. She ran out of shyness. Their eyes meet again, and both blush. Rantaro offers to walk her to the station, as it's late. Waguri orders a cake. Then Rantaro checks if she'd be all right, walking alone in the dark. Waguri assures him she's not scared of him and thanks him for talking to her so kindly. She leaves, and Rantaro returns to his room, blushing intensely. He reflects on being rejected his whole life, but remembers Waguri saying her heart beat fast when he looked at her, making him blush more. His mother then comes in, saying Waguri left her bag and hasn't gone far. Rantaro rushes out. He sees the two delinquents from the morning harassing Waguri. They call her cute, but ask what she's doing with ugly Rantaro, insulting him and warning her to stay away. Rantaro hesitates to intervene, fearing Waguri will also see him as bad because of his school and appearance. Waguri asks if their words are true. Rantaro is even more scared. Waguri then defends Rantaro, saying they shouldn't judge him without knowing him, calling them pathetic for spreading rumors. One delinquent lunges to punch Waguri, but Rantaro intervenes, taking the punch himself. His head hits a wall, causing a minor cut. Rantaro asks what they wanted with her. The delinquents, scared, flee. Waguri apologizes profusely, blaming herself. Rantaro reassures her, saying the punch didn't affect him, and the cut is from hitting the wall. He even adds it was a good punishment for him. Waguri is confused, asking if he could have dodged. Rantaro admits he could have, but he didn't trust her not to judge him like other girls. He then apologizes to Waguri for his assumption. Waguri assures him it's not his fault. Rantaro, inwardly, is touched by her kindness as she sees the good in him. Waguri cleans his wound, wondering why everyone fears him when he's such a good person. She thanks him for saving her life, looking incredibly cute. Rantaro, inwardly, is moved, realizing he's been pushing people away but now wants to hear more. Words of gratitude. Rantaro walks her to the station. As she leaves, Waguri promises to sit and eat cake with him next time she visits his shop. This makes Rantaro's heart beat fast again. The next day, Rantaro is exhausted in class, having stayed up all night thinking about Waguri. He glances at the girls' college. Its curtains are always drawn, but he notices someone opening them. It's Waguri. Their eyes meet again, and both are shocked, staring at each other for a long time. Rantaro quickly pulls his own classroom curtain shut. He finally realizes Waguri doesn't attend middle school. Rantaro is deep in thought, clearly preoccupied with Waguri. He reflects on how she wasn't scared of him, unlike everyone else, and how she's a regular customer at his family shop. However, the biggest problem for Rantaro is that Waguri is a student from Kiko High, their rival school. He's acutely aware of the intense rivalry between their two schools, Chikari High and Kiko High. Rantaro recalls how even today, girls from Kiko High looked at them strangely on their way home. His friends, including the outspoken Osami, join him and start badmouthing Kiko High, but Rantaro's mind is elsewhere, filled with thoughts of Waguri. He mentally scolds himself for thinking so much about her after just one brief interaction. Osami notices Rantaro's weird behavior whenever Kiko High is mentioned, asking if he's feeling strange. Rantaro, startled, denies it vehemently, speaking a bit too loudly, which draws stares from his classmates and surprises his friends. Later, in class, Rantaro's thoughts continue to swirl. He believes Waguri will never visit their restaurant again now that she knows his true identity. He thinks it's better this way, as it would be bad for her if people found out she frequented his shop. These thoughts torment him, leaving him deeply troubled. Osami then asks Rantaro if he's free today, suggesting they hang out. Rantaro, to everyone's surprise, confirms he's free. After school, as everyone leaves, they notice a crowd of students looking in one direction. Curious, they follow suit and are stunned to see Waguri waiting outside their boys' school. Rantaro is shocked, while his friends wonder what a Kiko High girl is doing there. Rantaro ponders who she could be waiting for. Suddenly, Osami storms over to Waguri, shouting at her for daring to come to their school. Waguri shrinks back, frightened, as Osami continues to intimidate her. Just then, Rantaro steps in gently, moving Osami aside and telling him to speak to girls more politely. He then apologizes to Waguri. Waguri tells him there's no need to apologize. Osami, feeling guilty, starts crying and apologizes to Waguri for yelling. At that moment, other girls from Chikari High arrive, looking worried. They see the boys confronting Waguri and fear the worst. They approach nervously as if the boys are criminals and pull Waguri away. Osami shouts that Waguri should apologize before leaving, but the girls push Osami and glare at the boys before taking Waguri away. As she's being led off, Waguri looks back at Rantaro. Rantaro's group walks away. Osami, still fuming. Rantaro is confused, wondering what just happened and if Waguri was perhaps waiting for him. He quickly dismisses the idea, thinking he's overthinking things. Osami looks at Rantaro, pointing out his strange expression, and his friends chime in. Rantaro tells them to stop talking nonsense. Internally, Rantaro questions his own feelings. Am I happy? No. Why would I be happy? I shouldn't be thinking about any of this. I need to focus on my normal life. They go to karaoke to unwind. Osami sings exceptionally well. Saku asks Rantaro if he's chosen a song, and Rantaro replies he needs 5 more. Minutes Osami gets a score of 90, claiming he could do even better. Saku keenly observes Rantaro, asking if he's having any problems, past or present, offering to listen. Saku has noticed Rantaro's strange behavior, a scratch on his head, his distant expression, and his preoccupation. Rantaro ponders telling them about his conversation with Waguri and how good it felt, but he worries about making the atmosphere weird and what his friends would think. So he tells them not to worry, that he's fine. They continue to enjoy themselves. When asked again about his song choice, Rantaro says he still hasn't decided. Osami offers to pick for him, which Rantaro protests. Rantaro then apologizes to Saku for his strange behavior. Saku simply says, "What can I do about you?" And Rantaro decides to sing. Rantaro finally arrives home. His family's restaurant's still open. He realizes it's closing time. As he steps inside, he's stunned. Waguri is waiting for him. She warmly greets him. "Welcome back, Rantaro." Surprised, asks why she's there. Immediately apologizes on behalf of her friends for their rude behavior. Rantaro tells her there's no need to apologize. His mother appears, chiding Rantaro for being late and telling him how long Waguri has been waiting. She then invites Waguri to stay a bit longer and offers her some cake. Waguri's stomach rumbles loudly, revealing her love for cake, making Rantaro and his mother laugh. Waguri, embarrassed, asks Rantaro not to laugh at her. Rantaro apologizes. He then asks if they can eat the cake together, making Waguri incredibly happy. The next scene shows Waguri happily eating cake, and Rantaro finds her cute while she eats. Waguri asks if his friend Osami is okay. Rantaro assures her not to worry about him. Rantaro then asks why she was at the gate. Waguri replies, "I was waiting for you there." Rantaro is shocked. Waguri apologizes again, but Rantaro tells her not to. He then shyly confesses that he felt really good when he first met her and when they talked. He doesn't quite finish his sentence, but Waguri understands perfectly. Both of them blush deeply. Rantaro confesses he was scared she wouldn't meet him again because of the rivalry between their schools. Waguri replies that she was actually happy when she found out he attended his school. She then looks sad and says it's getting late and she should leave. Rantaro is surprised by her words and reaction. Waguri leaves, telling him she enjoys getting to know him and thanking him again for the cake. As she walks away, she looks visibly sad. Rantaro doesn't notice her sadness, only her face. He's completely confused about what just happened. His mother appears, asking where Waguri went. Seeing Rantaro's dazed, zombie-like expression, his mother is startled. Rantaro tells her everything, feeling overwhelmed. Suddenly, his mother slaps him on the head. Now angry, she asks him how he feels when he sees Waguri. Rantaro, reflecting, admits he feels really good when she spends time with him. However, he doesn't want her to face problems because of his school's bad reputation. He fears she might get into trouble because of him. A realization dawns on him. He punches himself hard in the face, drawing blood from his nose, showing the immense strength of his self-reprimand. His mother is shocked, asking if he's crazy and why he'd do that. Rantaro replies, "Mother, you're right. I understand everything now." He thanks her deeply. The next day, Rantaro waits for Waguri. When she arrives, she's surprised by his bruised face. Rantaro doesn't explain, only apologizes, saying he must have hurt her. Waguri insists he doesn't need to apologize and that she should be the one apologizing. She sits down, looking upset. She explains that she left without saying anything and knows he must have been thinking a lot about it. Waguri thinks Rantaro was upset because she left abruptly, but Rantaro's mind was racing with different thoughts. The beautiful moment they shared, and the potential problems if their friends found out about their interactions due to the school rivalry. Rantaro gathers himself and tells her honestly, "When I first saw you, I felt really good, and when you talked to me after that, I felt even better." Waguri is overjoyed. She says her name again, but Rantaro says he knows it. Waguri then states his name is Rantaro and that they shouldn't care about what their friends think. She expresses her strong desire to know more about him. Rantaro is stunned. As he walks into class, Waguri's words echo in his mind. He realizes Waguri is right. They shouldn't let their friends' opinions dictate their connection. He looks out the window towards Kiko High. Across the way, Waguri pulls back a curtain and sees Rantaro, her face lighting up with happiness. Rantaro continues to gaze at her, thinking, honestly, I also want to know a lot about you. Rantaro feels like he's finally becoming a part of a world he couldn't before. Then we see Rantaro and Osami sitting in their classroom, steaming because of the heat. Their shared wish was to have been born in Antarctica. Osami, desperate, suggested they head to the faculty room to get the AC turned on, fearing they'd die in the stifling classroom. Yet amidst his complaints, a thought sparked joy. The upcoming sports festival. Just the name filled Osami with enthusiasm, and he declared that he and Rantaro would win it no matter the obstacle. However, their dreams were quickly deflated. Their teacher delivered unwelcome news. Any student failing the midterm exams would be barred from the sports festival and condemned to remedial classes. Osami was outraged, protesting the unfairness of assuming their failure before exams even began. When challenged by the teacher about their likelihood of passing, Osami, with blunt honesty, admitted he had absolutely no confidence. He then shrewdly proposed a wager. If they somehow passed their exams and won the sports festival, what reward would the teacher offer? After a moment's thought, the the teacher conceded, promising to treat them to ice cream. Despite the potential reward, the daunting prospect of studying immediately overwhelmed Osami. He despaired, lamenting his inability to focus for more than 5 minutes. Saku, ever the logical one, simply told him there was no use complaining about past idleness. Desperate, Osami swallowed his pride and begged Saku, the school's top student, for tutoring, just enough to scrape by. Soku, however, flatly refused, reminding Osami of their last failed study attempt, which had even brought Soku's own grades down. Ayato attempted to mediate, suggesting a group study session, but Osami's ego took over. He adamantly declared that he and Rantaro would study alone, accusing Soku of wanting them out of the sports festival. Rantaro silently questioned why he was being dragged into this, while Saku simply offered a dismissive best of luck. Amidst this academic tension, Rantaro received a message from his mother. Their bakery had a discount, and she wanted him to inform Waguri, noting it had been over a month since her last visit. Rantaro's thoughts immediately turned to Waguri. He wondered if she was upset, or perhaps just trying to be more frugal with her spending on cakes. He debated texting her, feeling an awkwardness given their prolonged silence. Eventually, he sent the message. The entire day passed without a reply, leaving Rantaro increasingly worried. Finally, a message from Waguri arrived, politely declining his mother's offer. Due to being a bit busy this month, Rantaro felt a pang of unexpected disappointment. Osami, still avoiding Saku, dragged Rantaro to a different public library, fabricating a story about the school libraries broken. Osami reiterated his determination to pass without Saku's idiotic help. Rantaro tried to reason with him, urging him to apologize to Saku, knowing they couldn't pass without his guidance. However, after mere moments of struggling with the study material, Osami's stubbornness broke. He conceded, admitting his inability to comprehend anything. Rantaro then pointed out that Saku, as their friend, also likely wanted them to participate in the sports festival. This realization struck a chord with Osami. He stood up, resolved to find Saku and Ayato apologize and bring them back for a joint study session, determined to secure their spot in the festival. Rantaro was left alone, reflecting on Osami's peculiar blend of pride and quick surrender. While Rantaro continued to study alone, he noticed 2 shy girls struggling to find a seat. Without a word, he quietly vacated his own. As he prepared to leave the library, he overheard the name Kuko. Intrigued, he discreetly observed, confirming his suspicion. It was Waguri, helping a friend with her studies. Rantaro watched her, noting how freely and informally she spoke with her friend, even sketching a cat she'd seen that morning. He overheard her friend praising Waguri as the top student at Kikyo High. This revelation struck Rantaro profoundly. He realized the immense chasm between them. Waguri's academic brilliance in an elite school contrasted with his own struggles at Chidori High. Later, Rantaro, exhausted, dozed off while studying. He awoke to find Waguri standing over him. She explained she had seen him earlier and was merely stepping out to eat. She apologized again for declining his bakery offer, clarifying that her schedule was incredibly tight due to upcoming exams and a part-time job. Rantaro was stunned, wondering why a seemingly affluent girl would need employment. Waguri laughed, dispelling his assumption. She wasn't rich. She attended Kikyo High on a scholarship, which demanded she consistently maintain the top position in her class to avoid expulsion. Her relentless dedication, often involving pinching herself to stay awake at night, stemmed from this immense pressure and her father's profound pride in her achievement. Rantaro found himself deeply impressed by her hidden struggles and incredible work ethic. Hesitantly, Rantaro gathered the courage to ask Waguri if she would tutor him. He explained his desperate need to pass his exams for the sake of the sports festival and his friends, mirroring her dedication to her father. Waguri handed him a rice cake, promising to find free time to help him. Suddenly, a new figure appeared. Subaru, another Kikyo High student, characterized by her serious demeanor and striking silver hair. Subaru immediately confronted Rantaro, warning him to stay far away from Waguri. She declared her distrust of people like him from Chidori High and asserted her role in protecting Waguri. When Waguri attempted to intervene, Subaru dismissed her concerns. Just then, Osami and his friends arrived. He saw that 2 girls from Kikyo High were talking to Rantaro. Osami confronted them, but Rantaro tried to de-escalate the situation. Subaru sharply dismissed them as animals and attempted to leave. Osami, recognizing Waguri, tried to approach her. Subaru instinctively moved to shield Waguri. To everyone's surprise, Rantaro also stepped in front of Waguri, physically shielding her from Osami. Subaru was visibly stunned by Rantaro's unexpected protective gesture. Osami, confused, insisted he wasn't attacking. Saku then launched into a verbal assault, taunting Subaru about her ugly silver hair and implying Kikyo High only admitted students with money. This particular insult visibly wounded Subaru, hinting at a painful past. Waguri was about to defend her, but Rantaro intervened. Silencing Saku, Rantaro defended Subaru, revealing that she was the girl Osami had scared earlier, and he had simply been apologizing to her in the library. This unexpected defense from a Chidori High student left both Waguri and Subaru surprised. Later, Osami genuinely apologized to Waguri for his rude behavior during their previous encounter. Waguri also offered her apology, acknowledging the rivalry between their schools. Subaru then attempted to pull Waguri away, reiterating her distrust of Chidori High students. Saku, however, continued his taunts. That night, Rantaro struggled with his studies. He then received a call from Waguri. She apologized for her friend's behavior and for him having to lie to protect her earlier. Rantaro reassured her it was fine. Waguri then thanked him for protecting her, calling him cool, which made Rantaro blush intensely. Rantaro noticed how politely and formally Waguri spoke to him compared to her casual ease with her own friend. He decided to address it directly, asking why there was such a barrier between them and if they couldn't speak like friends. Waguri, surprised, explained that she viewed him as a shop owner and felt formal conversation was appropriate. Rantaro's heart sank momentarily, but he then firmly stated that there was no need for politeness and that they were friends. Waguri, blushing profusely, agreed to treat him as a friend from then on. They both hung up, equally flustered but clearly pleased by their new, more casual connection. Meanwhile, Subaru was in her room, lost in contemplation, gazing at a childhood photograph of herself and a carefree Waguri. The image hinted at Subaru's past struggles with shyness and a potential reason for her deep-seated aversion to boys. Then we jump into sunny Saturday morning, and Rintaro was already up, even though school was out. He'd been looking forward to this day since Waguri promised to tutor him. Today was finally the day he'd meet her. He kept checking the message from Waguri, confirming their study session. Eager for the time to pass so he could see her, Rintaro got ready and took the train. His tall frame drew whispers from other girls, but he barely noticed. His mind was on Waguri, wondering what to say. They'd met before, but this felt different, almost like a date. He even found himself caring about his clothes, hoping Waguri wouldn't find his outfit strange. When he arrived, Waguri was already there, surprising him. He apologized for any wait, but she quickly said she had just arrived early herself. He joked about her being too polite, and she apologized, promising to be more casual next time. Admitting she was a bit nervous, her innocent smile made Rintaro blush, and he quickly hid his face. Wondering if she was always this cute, they went to a cafe, and Waguri immediately started eating, as usual. Rintaro just watched her. She mentioned the cafe was quiet, perfect for studying. He admitted he was still a bit nervous. After their meal, they started their math session. Waguri encouraged him to ask anything. Soon, Rintaro struggled with a question. As Waguri leaned in to help, she got very close, making Rintaro heart pound. She didn't realize how close she was until a moment later, and both quickly pulled back, blushing. Waguri apologized for being too close. Rintaro said it was fine, though he felt a rush of emotions. Changing the subject, Waguri asked about the question, and they resumed studying. Waguri explained the problem, but Rintaro was too distracted by her closeness and his own racing heart to truly hear her. He worried she might hear his heartbeat. A while later, Waguri asked Rintaro why he was so determined to pass his exams. He explained that if he failed, he couldn't participate in the sports festival, and he didn't want to let his friends, especially Osami, down. He was working hard for them. Waguri laughed, telling him his reason wasn't lame at all. In fact, it was better than hers. She studied for herself, but he was doing it for his friends to enjoy the festival together, which was amazing. She praised him for truly caring about his friends. Rintaro flinched when she used the word love for his friends, finding it a bit much. Waguri clarified that she loved her friends too, especially Subaru, her childhood best friend. She defended Subaru, saying people always misunderstood her, but she was kind despite her past negative experiences. With boys, she thanked Rintaro for not judging Subaru when they talked on the phone, even after Subaru had been rude to him. Waguri then shifted them back to studying, noting they'd talked enough. Rintaro kept blushing throughout the day, wondering how she made his day so good. As evening approached, they headed home. Rintaro was amazed at how long he had studied. Waguri reminded him to rest before studying more and gave him a notebook filled with study plans, important questions, and notes. Rintaro felt guilty, realizing Waguri had put so much effort into him while balancing her own studies. He worried about wasting her time since he only needed to pass while she aimed for the top. Waguri brushed off his concerns, saying she wanted them all to go to the sports festival. She told him to give his all and then left. Rintaro then vowed to pass, not just for the sports festival, but because he didn't want Waguri to feel her effort was wasted on him. When someone grabbed him from behind, it was Subaru, Kagaruki's classmate, who apologized and asked to talk. They met at a coffee shop. Rintaro was nervous as Subaru sat silently, just drinking her coffee. After a long pause, she abruptly asked, "Are you Kagaruko's boyfriend?" Startled, Rintaro dropped his coffee. He stammered that he wasn't. Subaru pressed him. "Then what are you?" Rintaro himself didn't know how to define his relationship with Waguri. Subaru then clarified her concern. "Please stay away from Waguri. Far, far away, and don't ever go near her again." Rintaro asked if it was because he was from Chidori school. Subaru confirmed it was. Rintaro tried to explain that even though Kikichi and Chidori were rivals, it didn't mean he was a bad person. Subaru interrupted, saying she knew he wasn't bad, especially after he stood up for her and apologized when her own friends spoke ill of her in the library. She explained her hatred for Chidori and boys stemmed from a painful past, which was why she panicked. Subaru revealed that if their teachers saw Kagaruko with a Chidori student, it could ruin Kagaruko's life and scholarship at the school. She cared deeply for Kagaruko, like a younger sister. A child then tripped nearby, and Subaru kindly helped him, even finding his lost toy. The child complimented her hair. Surprising. Her Subaru then explained that Waguri had said the same thing in the past. She recounted being severely bullied as a child because of her unique hair, crying helplessly against the boy's cruelty. Then, Waguri appeared, fearlessly defending her, calling her hair beautiful, and chasing the bullies away. Subaru called Waguri her superhero and vowed to protect her. Rintaro understood, knowing Waguri also spoke highly of Subaru. Subaru grew emotional, emphasizing Waguri's struggles to get into their school. She urged Rintaro to stay away, reiterating her fear that Kagaruko's dreams would be shattered if their association was discovered. Despite knowing it was wrong to separate friends, Subaru was willing to sacrifice their friendship to protect Waguri from expulsion and further hurt from boys. She implored him, bowing her head, to stay away. Rintaro had a flashback to the rivalry between their schools. He almost agreed with Subaru, thinking they were too different. But then, Waguri's words echoed in his mind. It didn't matter which school they were from, only who they were. Waguri was different. So Rintaro firmly refused, saying he couldn't and wouldn't stay away from her. Subaru cried briefly, then smiled, admitting she knew he wouldn't agree. As he wasn't the type to abandon his friends easily, Rintaro then left, leaving Subaru alone in the cafe, wondering about her own behavior. Later, on the train, Rintaro tried to read, but his mind wandered, making him make strange faces that worried other passengers. Subaru's words replayed in his head. He might not know her well, but he recognized her as an incredibly caring friend, something he lacked in his own life. Two girls from the library entered the train. Rintaro didn't recognize them, but offered his seat. The girls confirmed. He was the one who had given them a seat earlier and thanked him. Rintaro, not used to talking to girls, especially receiving thanks, awkwardly asked about their studies. His tone startled them, making them think they had bothered him. He clarified he was happy to meet them and left. The girls thought he was cool and kind, despite their initial fear. Rintaro pondered how those girls, scared as they were, still thanked him, unlike others. He then thought of Waguri, who thanked him for every small thing, showing her innocence. He understood why Subaru was so fiercely protective of her. He too wanted to shield Waguri from harm and keep her innocent smile. He had refused to plead to stay away and had no regrets, but he still wondered if by staying close to Waguri, he was unintentionally ruining her life. The scene then cut to exam results. Osami and Rintaro both passed, with Osami getting 30 and Rintaro 59. The class and teachers celebrated, amazed, especially at Osami's narrow pass. Everyone interviewed them. Rintaro was overjoyed, not just for passing, but for his good score. Osami proudly declared their success. Their two other friends, who failed, told them to win the sports festival for them. The teacher was moved to tears by their effort. Saku grumbled about the drama, but another student pointed out Saku was the real hero for tutoring them. Saku blushed as they thanked him. Rintaro, looking at his answer sheet, knew it was all thanks to Waguri's excellent tutoring. He decided to message her. But just as he was about to, Subaru's words about Waguri's scholarship and the potential damage Rintaro could inflict on her future flashed in his mind. Suddenly, Saku accidentally bumped into Rintaro's desk, scattering his bag's contents. As Saku helped him pick things up, he spotted a note inside Rintaro's books with Kagaruko written on it, and good luck for exam. Saku asked, "Who's Kagaruko, and what's her book doing with you?" The entire class had gone silent, as if the joyful atmosphere had vanished. Saku didn't understand why the note was there. Osami approached and asked, "What's going on? Why are you two so serious all of a sudden?" Rintaro avoided eye contact. Ayato arrived, bent down to pick up his book, and noticed the note from Kayoru. He asked, "Who is this Kayoru?" Hearing this, Rintaro quickly rushed over, snatched the book, and looked unusually tense, almost dangerous. Even Ayato, his longtime friend, felt uneasy. He couldn't understand why Rintaro acted like this, and Rintaro realized it himself. Before he could apologize, Saku said, "If I'm correct, Kyoro is the same girl you met at the library, right? But you said you only talked to her to apologize, so why do you have her notebook?" Osami added. "The silver-haired high school girl called her Kayoru. Then this notebook must be hers. But why is it with you?" Other students were clueless, but knew the matter was was serious. Saku said, "Why are you quiet now? Aren't you going to say anything?" Rintaro firmly refused. "I'm not sharing." This was the first time he openly said this, surprising Saku. Before the tension rose, the teacher intervened, scolding them for disturbing the class and making a mess. They had to clean it up. Osami tried to lighten the mood, challenging Saku to a cleaning race, but Saku refused. Osami dragged him away. After they left, Rintaro apologized to Ayato. "Sorry for scaring you. I don't know what came over me when you grabbed my book." Ayato smiled, saying it was no problem. Osami and Ayato weren't bothered, but Saku was upset. Rintaro went home, thinking about how he messed up. He regretted not seeing the note earlier and wondered why. Kaoru worked so hard for him to pass while he hadn't even messaged her. The scene shifted to Kaoru studying peacefully. She received a message from Rintaro saying he passed. She was thrilled and replied, "I knew you'd pass. Now you can finally join the sports festival. You'll go right." Rintaro's smile faded. He thought about how excited Kaoru was, but he didn't want to hear about it. Maybe she wanted him to invite her, but Subaru's warning echoed in his mind. If the high school found out they were together, it could ruin Kaoru's scholarship. He didn't reply. Kaoru noticed and wasn't too upset. She daydreamed about which sport he'd play and wished to see him play. She soon forgot everything, except him. Meanwhile, Osami worried because Rintaro and Saku were still upset. The sports festival was 3 days away. If the team kept fighting, how could they win? Ayato told Osami it was his job to make them friends again. Osami said he didn't know how, but Ayato reminded him Rintaro helped Saku and Osami reconcile. Before now, Osami had to do the same. Osami suggested they practice baseball together, but Rintaro and Saku refused. Osami felt heartbroken. Teppei urged him not to give up, but Rintaro left, saying he had urgent work. Saku walked home alone. Ayato and Osami caught him. "Where are you going?" "Alone. Stop for us," they said. Saku refused, saying he wasn't in a good mood. Osami asked if he was mad because Rintaro talked to a high school girl. Saku said no. He was sad because Rintaro didn't trust him. If he did, he wouldn't hide things. Osami said, "You're wrong. We all know Rintaro isn't like that. No matter how scary he seems, he has a pure heart. He never thinks badly about friends and stopped us from fighting before. He'd do anything for friends," Ayato added. Today was the first time he told us the truth, that he didn't want to talk about it. We should respect that. He'll tell us when ready. Just give him time. Saku agreed and understood Rintaro better. They left together at home. Rintaro's mother was worried. He was unusually quiet and mopping in one spot. She asked if he was okay or if he failed again. He said he passed all subjects. She laughed, thinking it a joke. He insisted it was true. She asked his highest mark. He said 59, shocking her more. She didn't believe he scored well without cheating. Before more could be said, Kaoru came in. Rintaro hid, not wanting to see her. Kaoru apologized for being late and asked if any cake was left. His mother said a little was left and invited her to come on weekends for more variety. Kaoru said she came as a reward for doing well on exams. Rintaro's mother praised him too. He told her to be quiet, but she boasted anyway. Kaoru was surprised to see him there. Rintaro's mother noticed he was ignoring Kaoru and didn't like it. She said she'd prepare for the next day and told Rintaro to take Kaoru's order, hoping they'd talk. She left. Rintaro was frustrated. Kaoru tried to decide on a cake. Suddenly, she raised her hands for a high five, congratulating Rintaro for passing and being able to join the sports festival. Rintaro remembered his fight with Saku and how the festival plans were spoiled, but still gave Kaoru a high five. Noticed he looked troubled. He rarely smiled and now seemed more worried despite passing. Kaoru tried to cheer him up by talking about how eating lifts her mood. Her awkward but honest words made Rintaro laugh. She was happy to see him smile. As Kaoru left, Rintaro's thoughts returned to Subaru's warning. He knew he shouldn't meet Kaoru, but couldn't stay away. She was innocent and kind, deserving respect. Still, he felt something indescribable for her. At the train station, Kaoru waited, reflecting on their sudden meeting. She smiled, thinking of his rare smile, which seemed because of her. She thought he was cute. Then she noticed Rintaro hadn't replied to her message. Was he upset? Did she say something wrong? Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a new message. She looked shocked, but its sender and content were not revealed. The last scene showed Rintaro's mother cooking a feast to celebrate. He asked why there. With so much food, she said she always believed in him and wanted him to never give up. She asked if he still thought about Kaoru. Surprised, he said yes. She said mothers always know. She told him he was kind and cared too much. She only wanted him to be happy. Finally, the scene shifted to Subaru waiting in the park. Kaoru arrived, apologized for being late. Subaru said she came earlier. Kaoru noticed it was their childhood park, asked why Subaru called her here instead of school, since tomorrow was a school day. Subaru said what she needed to say. Couldn't wait. It was about Rintaro. Kaoru smiled, hearing his name, but what Subaru was about to say seemed troubling. Then we see a flashback to Subaru's past, where she's crying and telling a young Waguri not to hang from the monkey bars like that. Waguri, surprised, says, "Oh, you're talking about that? To be honest, I really like doing it." Subaru cries even more, saying, "It could be very harmful for you. You shouldn't do it." Waguri agrees. "Okay, then I won't do it anymore." The scene shifts to the adult Subaru, who is thinking that Waguri is truly beautiful, cheerful, strong, and her hero. She then goes to the younger Waguri and hugs her. "I have something I need to talk to you about," she says. Back in the present, Waguri asks what she wants to talk about. Subaru reveals it's about Rintaro. "I saw you with him at the cafe, and after you left, I met Rintaro and told him to never meet you again," she confesses. She apologizes profusely to Waguri. A moment of silence passes, then Waguri starts laughing. "You really don't need to apologize to me like this," she says. "After what happened at the school gates, I've understood the tension between Chidori and Kuko schools very well. And honestly, I'm the one who was trying to trouble you. You went to Rintaro to talk to him on my behalf." Subaru insists that she would do anything to make Waguri happy. Waguri, in turn, apologizes for making her worry so much. Subaru is confused, wondering why Waguri is apologizing to her. Another flashback shows a young Subaru feeling jealous of anyone who got too close to Waguri, even making little plans to keep people away so she could have Waguri to herself. Subaru realizes she was selfish. She feels like she's just trying to ease her own conscience. "I'm a very selfish person," she says, crying and apologizing again and again. She says that Waguri is so good that she never blamed her for anything. Subaru confesses that she's always tried to act strong, but she feels like a broken girl. Waguri hugs Subaru, telling her she doesn't need to cry. "I think we should play," she says. "I haven't hung from the monkey bars like a monkey in a long time. When we were little, we used to hang like this, and you were always scared." Waguri then reminds her of another memory. "Do you remember when I used to try to walk on this bar, and I'd fall and get hurt?" Subaru says yes, she remembers. Waguri continues, "When I used to fall, it hurt, and you'd cry for me. You used to say, 'Waguri, give me all your pain.'" Subaru blushes, telling her to stop bringing up those embarrassing things. Waguri tells her that she's always been a good person. Subaru disagrees, saying she just felt like a burden. Waguri reassures her, saying, "No, that's not true. You were always a good person. Sometimes I feel like you're becoming even better than me. When I came to Kai High, you were the first person who helped me and supported me. So please, don't think you're a burden to me." Subaru feels a little better, but starts crying again. Waguri tells her, "I've been with you since childhood, so I know you're a very good person, and I like you very much. You're my first and most special friend." Subaru is happy and hugs Waguri. Subaru then asks a direct question. "Tell me the truth. Do you like Rintaro?" Waguri answers, "Yes, you're right. I think I'm starting to fall in love with Rintaro." Subaru then reveals that she told Rintaro to stop meeting Waguri, but he refused, telling her he couldn't do that. Waguri is stunned. She now knows Rintaro has feelings for her too. The tension between them disappears, and they both know their feelings are mutual. The two friends finally start to head home. Suddenly, Waguri looks at her phone, her expression turning serious. Subaru asks, "What's wrong?" Waguri replies, "Rintaro sent me a message." The scene shifts to Rintaro, who is scared, wondering if he did the right thing by sending the message. He thinks he should talk to Subaru, because she was crying because of him. He knows that she was only thinking about Waguri's well-being. Suddenly, Waguri calls him. He's startled, thinking, "I wasn't ready for this." He answers the call, and Waguri asks what he wants to talk about. Rintaro says he wants to talk to Subaru. Waguri tells Subaru that Rintaro wants to talk to her. This surprises Rintaro even more. Is Subaru there? This is a problem, he thinks. Subaru takes the phone and asks what he wants to talk about. Rintaro is nervous, but he says he wants to talk about what they discussed at the cafe. Subaru agrees, and Rintaro asks to meet after school the next day instead of talking on the phone. Subaru agrees. The next day, Rintaro meets Subaru on a park bench. Subaru asks what he wants to talk about, and Rintaro gets straight to the point. "What do I have to do to get your permission to spend time with Waguri?" Subaru finds the question strange, saying she's not Waguri's mother. She then admits she was wrong to tell him to stay away from Waguri. Rintaro tells her he wasn't angry because he knew she was only trying to protect her friend. "I was a little scared of you," he admits. "You seemed dangerous, but I knew your heart was pure, just like Waguri's." Subaru is shocked and happy to hear this. Rintaro then earnestly asks if there's any way he can meet Waguri without causing problems. Subaru thinks to herself how nice Rintaro is and that she was wrong to treat him so poorly. She finally gives him a solution. If you want to meet her, you have to meet somewhere far away from school. If you do that, you can meet and talk as much as you want. I have no problem with it. Suddenly, a soccer ball hits Rintaro in the stomach. A small boy runs up, the same one who fell at the cafe when Rintaro and Subaru first met. He says, "I think you two are good friends." Both Rintaro and Subaru are stunned. Subaru then says, "The boy is right. We should become good friends." Rintaro agrees, saying it's not a bad idea. Subaru then says, "Will you be my friend?" She reveals he would be her very first male friend. Rintaro is shocked but happily agrees, saying he'd like that very much. Rintaro comments on how different she is now compared to their first two meetings. Subaru smiles and says it's a secret. Then we see Rintaro staring at his phone, his group chat eerily silent. He thinks to himself that ever since he got into a fight with his friends, no one has messaged in the group. He recalls the moment he refused to tell them about his personal life, something he had never done before. His friends were shocked by his secrecy. Just then, Waguri sends him a message, asking how his meeting with Subaru went. Rintaro replies that it went well, and apologizes for not telling her about his previous meeting with Subaru. Waguri says it's a good thing that Subaru knows about them now, which makes Rintaro feel strange. He looks at his phone again, his mood still somber about his friends. At school, Osami is visibly agitated. He gestures towards Rintaro, complaining to Ayato and Saku that something is wrong with him. Rintaro is playing poorly in their baseball game, unable to field or bat properly, and has even been hit by the ball a few times. Osami notes that while Rintaro isn't a great student, he's usually excellent at sports. Ayato jokingly reminds him that Rintaro is still a better student than he is. Osami ignores him, telling them to focus on Rintaro. He recalls Rintaro's odd behavior in class, drumming his pen on the desk and looking distracted. When Osami asked if he was okay, Rintaro nervously denied it. Osami concludes that they need to help him solve his problem. They decide to follow Rintaro. Osami tells Saku that he should apologize. Saku wants to, but is too scared. Osami pushes him, saying it would be strange if Rintaro stopped talking to them. They tail him for a long time, until Rintaro stops at a park, seemingly waiting for someone. The three friends are confused, wondering who he could be meeting since they are his only friends. Their questions are answered when Subaru and Waguri arrive, leaving the boys completely stunned. The scene shifts to a restaurant where Rintaro, Waguri, and Subaru are eating. Waguri is enjoying her food, while Subaru sips her coffee. Rintaro apologizes for making them travel so far. Waguri reassures him, saying she's happy just to see him, then blushes and falls silent, embarrassed. She recalls what Subaru told her, that Rintaro couldn't stay away from her, which makes her blush even more. Subaru watches Waguri with an amused, slightly worried expression, thinking that if Waguri keeps acting this way, Rintaro will quickly figure out her feelings. Suddenly, a negative aura appears behind them. It's Osami, Ayato, and Saku hiding and spying on them. Osami is not angry that Rintaro is meeting a girl from Kai High, but that he's with two girls when he and his friends can't even talk to one. He's showing off, Osami complains, wishing Rintaro would at least introduce him to one. Ayato is busy ordering food for himself, while Saku panics, telling Osami to be quiet, but no one listens. He worries about getting into trouble with these two. The boys wonder what Rintaro is doing with them. They understand him meeting Waguri because she's nice, but they're confused about Subaru, who seems to hate boys. Rintaro asks Waguri and Subaru to listen to him. He tells them about his friends and admits he wants to be honest with them about everything, including his relationships with Waguri and Subaru. He acknowledges he promised not to reveal anything about Waguri to protect her, but he can't keep secrets from his friends. He recounts how he was always ignored as a child until he met them. They seemed weird at first, but proved to be good friends, the only ones who weren't afraid of him. He says that just as Waguri is important to Subaru, his friends are important to him. He thanks Waguri for helping him with his studies, giving him the confidence to believe he can pass. He says he can't risk failing to hold on to his friends. He tells them it's their choice to keep talking to him after this, but he can't hide anything from his friends anymore. Waguri smiles and says she has no problem with it. Subaru agrees, saying Rintaro is a good person for including her in his confession, and adds that Waguri's friends must be good people too. Waguri then suggests they befriend them. Subaru is surprised by her suggestion. After the meeting, the friends walk home. Rintaro offers to walk them to the station, but Waguri says it's fine. Subaru, looking nervous, asks Rintaro if he can introduce her to his friends. I was rude to them at the library, and I want to apologize, she says. Rintaro is happy and agrees. Suddenly, some guys approach them. They recognize Rintaro from Chitose High. Waguri recognizes them as the two boys from episode 1 who were bothering her. They've brought their senior with them to beat up Rintaro. The senior says that Rintaro seems cowardly, just as his two junior lackeys said. He taunts Rintaro, but Waguri bravely tells him not to call Rintaro a coward. The senior then notices that Waguri is from Kai High and is confused about what she's doing with Rintaro. He also sees Subaru and thinks both girls are rich, believing they can make a profit from this. Rintaro steps in front of the girls, telling the senior that the problem is with him, and he'll resolve it after he gets the girls home. As Rintaro stands ready to fight, the senior grabs Subaru's hair. Before Rintaro can react, someone grabs the senior's hand. It's Osami. Rintaro is shocked to see his friends there, long after school is over. Soku tells Rintaro to take the girls and go. Rintaro hesitates, but knows the girls' safety is more important. The senior scoffs, asking if three boys can really take take on all of them. Soku ignores him and walks up to the two junior boys. "You two are our seniors, and you're really scared of us?" he says. They boasted that they were the ones who hurt Rintaro. The three friends get furious when they hear that Rintaro was hurt while trying to protect a girl. Ayato, who seemed like the weakest character, suddenly throws his bag on the ground and menacingly walks toward them. The scene cuts away as Rintaro gets a call from Ayato, who tells him everything is fine. The camera shows that all the bad guys are on the ground, but Ayato doesn't have a single scratch. Osami tells him he shouldn't have hit them so hard. Soku says he's glad Ayato doesn't like to fight. Ayato replies that he doesn't, but he will fight if his friends are in trouble. He goes back to the senior and warns him that if he ever bothers Rintaro again, he'll beat him even worse. The senior is terrified. Ayato then returns to his friends, acting as if nothing happened. A few days later, Rintaro is playing poorly at a baseball festival. His classmates yell at him to focus. He goes to wash his face and realizes he won't be able to focus until he tells his friends the truth. His friends come to him, and Saku says he played horribly. Osami says they only need to win 2 more games to get a party from their teacher. Rintaro apologizes and thanks them for their help the other day. Osami tells him not to mention it, revealing that it was a good thing they were following him. Osami realizes he said too much, and the 3 friends panic. Rintaro, however, is not angry. He realizes that they heard everything he said in the restaurant. Saku apologizes and says he's glad to know what Rintaro thinks of them. Saku adds that he wants to be honest too, and tells Rintaro that he trusts him. Rintaro's friends are worried they might fight again, but they realize the two are now on good terms. Now able to focus, Rintaro hits a perfect home run. As he runs the bases, he looks at the sky, which feels as calm as his heart. They win the game, and everyone is happy. Even their teacher is pleased to see that the 4 of them have become true friends. But then we see Osami crying while eating ice cream. Ayato tries to cheer him up, but he keeps crying, saying it's because they can't eat ice cream. Rintaro points out that they are eating ice cream, but Osami says that if they had won, their teacher would have paid for it. It turns out they lost the match because Osami couldn't throw the ball properly, and the opponent hit a home run. The shopkeeper also tries to cheer him up by saying she will give him extra takoyaki, and Osami cheers up, promising that he will practice hard next time. Rintaro then gets a notification on his phone, checks it, and asks his friends if they are free afterward. In the next scene, all 4 boys are with 2 girls. Rintaro tells them to introduce themselves, and they do so. Waguri apologizes for calling them out suddenly, but Osami reassures her that it's fine. They start talking about the sports festival, and it looks like they are getting along well. Seeing this, Rintaro starts thinking about how fast they connected. Ayato tells Saku that they are far from their school, and Saku explains that it's so they won't be noticed by others. Waguri then gets to the point and explains the real reason they invited them. She and Subaru apologize for what happened the day before. The 3 boys have different reactions. Waguri takes out a bag full of snacks and gives it to them as a thank you gift. Ayato thanks her, but Osami is moved to tears, asking if he can eat one right away. Suddenly, Subaru stands up and apologizes for her rude behavior at the library. Osami says he doesn't even remember what she said back then, and everyone looks at him strangely. He argues that it was a month ago and questions how anyone could remember what someone said that long ago. He tells Subaru that he doesn't mind and that he's used to being insulted anyway. Suddenly, Saku apologizes to Subaru for talking rudely to her, surprising everyone. The boys start teasing Saku about apologizing. Waguri then tells Subaru to give them her gift as well. Subaru reluctantly takes out her thank you gift, which turns out to be very expensive sweets. The boys are shocked at how fancy they are. Osami suggests that they have a party, but Subaru says she is from Kikyo High. Osami says it doesn't matter, and he knows that Kikyo High hate them, but it's just they don't want to get involved in it, so they avoid them. Ayato adds that Rintaro has always spoken well of Waguri and Subaru, saying they are good people. Osami then says they should stop the school rivalry and start getting along, offering Subaru one of the sweets. She hesitates but accepts it. They take out all the snacks and begin eating together, having a lot of fun. Subaru thinks about all the hate she had for the Chidori boys and questions what it was even for. She realizes Waguri was right, you can't understand anything unless you see it with your own eyes. Later, as they return home, Osami feels good after eating so much. Ayato and Saku admit they never expected to get along with girls from Kikyo High. Osami calls out to Subaru and asks where she bought the sweets, and his friends teased him, asking how that information could possibly help him. Waguri, meanwhile, is just happy to see Subaru getting along with him. Rintaro thanks Waguri for everything she has done, and she's glad to see that Rintaro has also started opening up to his friends. Then Rintaro admits he never properly thanked her for helping him with his studies, and asks how he can repay her. Waguri suddenly stops and tells him that what she's always wanted was to go outside with him. The next scene is a flashback where Osami says says that Rintaro has changed, and at that moment, Waguri's face comes to Rintaro's mind. The scene shifts to the train, where Rintaro is nervous. Last time he and Waguri met, it was for studying, but this time there is no specific reason. He wonders if this might be a date, but quickly brushes off the thought, telling himself it's just a thank you outing. Lost in thought, he gets off the train, only to find Waguri stepping off the same one. She calls out to him, laughing that they were on the same train and didn't even notice. She then thanks him for agreeing to her request and excitedly tells him they should go to the aquarium. The scene shifts to the aquarium, full of beautiful fish. Waguri is delighted, saying it feels like her first time visiting since she hasn't been there since middle school. Rintaro says he hasn't been there since elementary school and that back then he was only interested in the large fish. He asks what special thing Waguri wanted to see. She explains that she saw a dolphin show on TV and they're doing a special one today, so she wanted to see it with him. She starts planning their day, wondering if they'll have time to eat, enjoy some rides, and watch a lion mini show before the dolphin performance at 3. She asks if they'll have time to see the things Rintaro wants to see. He laughs and says they should watch what Waguri wants today. She smiles brightly at his answer. They tour the aquarium, enjoying the sights, and later eat hot dogs together, praising how delicious they are. Waguri notices a fish inside their table's display and watches it. Rintaro suddenly thanks her for everything she has done. Waguri asks about his sports festival, and he says it was fun. Then she says they still have time before the dolphin show, so she asks him to tell her about the fun moments he had. He begins sharing his memories until it's almost time for the show. Rintaro excuses himself to the restroom, stays behind, looking at the photos they took, calling them her treasures. In the restroom, Rintaro feels nervous, thinking that Waguri looks too cute. He remembers the dolphin show and hurries back. When he returns, Waguri is with a little girl. When Rintaro asks, she explains the girl is lost, so she called her over to comfort her. She asks if they can help find her parents. Rintaro agrees, though he worries about missing the show. Waguri insists the show doesn't matter compared to helping the girl. She gently asks the girl her name, and she replies, Mika. Waguri tries to introduce Rintaro, but Mika seems scared, so Rintaro reassures her and introduces himself. Mika tells them she got separated from her parents near the shark area. Waguri decides to look for Mika's parents while Rintaro stays with her. The two sit in silence until Mika suddenly apologizes. When Rintaro asks why, she says she feels bad for interrupting their date. Rintaro denies that it's a date, but Mika insists they look like a couple. She then shares her own story, saying she wants to go on a date with a boy named Daiki, who is the fastest in her class and really cool. She adds that his smile always makes her happy. And hearing that line strikes something deep. Soon Waguri returns with Mika's parents. Her mother scolds Mika for wandering off, and Mika apologizes. Her father thanks Rintaro and Waguri for helping. Rintaro says it was nice having Mika around, and Waguri smiles at him. The family thanks them both again. Before leaving, Mika runs back, tells Rintaro to lean down, and whispers in his ear that he and Waguri would make a great couple. Rintaro blushes at her words. Waguri suggests heading back, since the show must be over, but Rintaro says there's a night show they can watch. Instead, Waguri happily agrees and they go together. The dolphin show begins and it's breathtaking. Waguri thanks Rintaro, saying she never expected anything in return, but when he agreed to go out with her, she was truly happy and the whole day was wonderful. Rintaro thinks to himself that he has never felt this way about anyone. Remembering Mika's words, he admits that the feelings he's been ignoring can no longer be denied. Then we see heavy rain pouring down, causing all of Rintaro's friends to feel miserable, especially Osami, who hates the rain. They are all cooped up and frustrated. Then Rintaro walks into class, acting pretty weird. He looks kind of frustrated, and everyone's a bit shocked. They ask if he's okay, but he just says he's fine, even though his books fall on the floor. While he's picking them up, his mind is just replaying the whole aquarium trip. He finally realized his feelings for Waguri, that he's totally in love with her. All he can think about is that feeling and how he can't keep his emotions bottled up anymore. He's so confused. Like, was that feeling really love or something else? He has no experience with this stuff, and it's driving him crazy. Osami breaks the silence, saying he has an idea. They haven't hung out much lately, so they should all go to someone's house to chill. Since they can't go out in the rain, hanging out at home is the next best thing. Osami suggests Rentaro's house, since it's the closest. This makes Rentaro super nervous. He starts panicking, wondering if they'll make fun of him or stop being his friends if they find out his family owns a bakery. Osami sees the look on Rentaro's face and quickly apologizes for asking, saying they don't have to go to his house. He offers his own place instead, but Rintaro, feeling bad, quickly says no, they have to come to his place. He says he's fine with it, but he just needs to ask his mom first to make sure it's okay. The scene jumps to Saturday. The guys are already at Rintaro's house, and his friends are pretty surprised, but Rintaro's mom is absolutely thrilled. It's the first time Rintaro has ever brought his friends home, and she's so excited. She tells Rintaro to show his friends around and take them up to his room. Rintaro's friends, being good guys, brought a gift for his mom. Saku hands it to her, and one of her staff members asks what's going on. Rintaro's mom, beaming, says she's so happy for her son because he's finally bringing friends home. It's a huge moment for her. She can see how much he's changing, and it makes her emotional. We see Rintaro's friends looking around the house. Rintaro feels super awkward, worried about what they think, but they actually love it. They're not judging him for living above a bakery at all. Suddenly, Rintaro hears a noise and goes to check it out. It's Waguri and Subaru. Rintaro is shocked, but Waguri is so happy to be there. Rintaro is totally confused. Subaru, on the other hand, is super shy. It's her first time at a boy's house, and she's as nervous as Rintaro was when he started. Making friends, Rintaro's mom comes out and is excited to see them too. She explains that Waguri and Subaru came to buy a cake, and she just thought it would be a good idea to bring them upstairs to join everyone. Rintaro is still in a state of confusion. Waguri is delighted, but Subaru is still really shy. Mom says that, since they're his friends too, they should all hang out together. Rintaro gets even more flustered and says, "No, Mom, it's fine." But his mom insists, telling them to enjoy themselves while she goes to get them some food. Rintaro is so embarrassed he can't even process what's happening. He goes to help his mom in the kitchen. Waguri then asks Subaru, "Tell me, how do I look? Is my dress okay? My hair? Do I look good?" Subaru is shocked because Waguri never acts this way. But she's honest and says that Waguri looks absolutely beautiful, adding that she'd look great, even in her normal clothes. She knows that Waguri is doing all of this for Rintaro. The group is shown having a blast, with tons of dishes on the table. Rintaro is just thinking that his mom made way too much food. Just then, she says she has to go back to the shop because no one is there, and there's a lot to do. Rintaro is so thankful for her help, and mentally promises to thank her later. Then, Osami blurts out, "Hey, Rintaro, why do you have piercings? And why did you dye your hair? I know that's not your real hair color. I want to see a picture of you as a kid." Rintaro admits that he did all of that to look cool. He explains that when he was in middle school, he had no friends. He thought if he looked cool, maybe people would want to be his friend. He tells them a story about seeing a bakery owner with cool piercings and dyed hair. He got permission from his parents to do the same, hoping it would help him make friends. But when he went back to school, it had the opposite effect. People just avoided him even more. Osami, in a moment of true friendship, says that those people were idiots. He says they didn't know the real Rintaro. He says that if he had been there, he would have been his best friend. He tells Rintaro that he's an amazing person and never thinks badly of anyone. He says it was the other people's fault, and they'll regret not being his friend. Right in the middle of this heartfelt moment, Waguri interrupts, saying she's still hungry and wants to eat more. Rintaro laughs, asking how much she can eat before she gets fat. Waguri just tells him to let her eat and that she's enjoying the food. She then says that she feels so lucky to have friends like them. Rintaro is shocked and feels good hearing that. He feels like the loneliness he's always had is finally being filled. His mom, listening from the kitchen, gets emotional. This is a huge moment for her. We see a flashback of Rentaro's mom. She had also gotten her hair dyed blonde and her ears pierced. His dad asks if she did it for Rentaro. His mom, looking sad, says yes. She tells him that Rintaro comes home from school and always says that no one will talk to him. He even told her once that he would never make friends again, and it broke her heart. She saw the longing in his eyes when he looked at the bakery owner and couldn't bring herself to say no. When he asked for her permission, she felt it was the least she could do to support him. His dad tells her that she is an amazing mother and that Rintaro will understand her feelings one day. She agrees, saying she hopes he will. Back in the present, Rentaro's mom brings out a cake for everyone. Osami gets excited and thanks her profusely. As she's leaving, Rintaro stops her and thanks her for everything. His mom is surprised. She doesn't say anything, but a small tear forms in her eye as she walks away. Then the group again meets at a restaurant to study. Osami, arriving late, orders a massive amount of food. Much to everyone else's amusement, he apologizes, but insists on eating. Ayato asks Subaru what she wants, and she, unsure, settles for a sandwich. Waguri is also indecisive, wanting to try everything. She then excitedly asks Rintaro what he wants. Rintaro is flustered, noticing Saku observing him intently. Both Ayato and Saku seem happy to be there. Subaru whispers something to Waguri. It's time to study, but they notice Osami has fallen asleep at the table, despite their attempts to wake him. Rintaro explains Osami's been studying all night and is exhausted. Waguri tries to motivate Osami by proposing a game. Study for half an hour for one cake, or an hour for 2 cakes, all for free. Osami's eyes light up, and he becomes energized, while the others are amazed. Waguri then tells Rintaro and Saku they can ask her if they have any doubts. Rintaro, who was previously asking many questions, now wants to try solving problems himself, not wanting to rely on others. Waguri is surprised by his newfound independence, but is happy when he says he'll ask if he needs help. Subaru is studying peacefully when she notices Osami staring creepily at her textbook. She asks him about it. Osami is surprised to see how thick her workbook is compared to his own, making him realize how Subaru is so intelligent. Subaru, in turn, is surprised by how incompetent the students from Chidori High are, while everyone else is studying. Osami seems to be in his own world. Rintaro has a question, but hesitates to disturb Waguri, who is intensely focused. Waguri notices his hesitation and apologizes for not hearing him earlier, asking if he has a question. Rintaro agrees, but finds himself thinking about how serious Waguri looks when she's explaining something, reminding him of the time she told him her dream of going to Kyo High and making her family proud. Waguri explains the problem thoroughly, but Rintaro, distracted, doesn't understand. Waguri laughs and starts explaining again, while Subaru also has a question but doesn't want to interrupt them. Osami asks Subaru if she has a problem, says yes. He confidently offers to explain it. However, upon seeing the question, he is stunned. Realizing how difficult it is, Saku tells Osami to return the book, as he can't even solve their school's problems, let alone this one. Osami apologizes profusely to Subaru. Saku then asks Subaru what the problem is, and after she explains, Saku solves it with ease, astonishing Subaru and the others. They marvel at his intelligence and suggest he should be at Kikyo High. Saku dismisses it, saying Kikyo High is for girls and that the question wasn't that difficult. Subaru, however, is impressed and asks him to explain his method. Ayato tells Saku he's intelligent but a terrible teacher. Saku is hurt and asks Rintaro if he thinks he's a bad teacher. Rintaro reassures him that they are the ones who are bad students for not understanding his explanations, which further devastates Saku. Saku tries to explain again, but Rintaro, Waguri, and Subaru still don't grasp it. Saku finally realizes that his friend's failures were due to his own poor teaching. He gets up to leave, feeling useless, but his friends convince him to stay. The next day, the exam results are out. Osami passed both exams, much to his joy and the disbelief of two younger boys, who accused him of breaking a promise to fail for 3 years. Osami explains that their teacher has become much better. The boys then go to Saku, who is visibly nervous. The teacher enters, announcing the start of summer vacation and asking about their plans. When a student points out there's no homework, the teacher says summer break is for enjoying life and making memories, not for studying. The students praise him. The teacher then mentions that those who failed will have regular classes. The group is at a loss for what to do with their summer. Rintaro suggests bowling, and they decide to split into teams, with the losing team treating the winners. Rintaro reflects on how his life has changed, from only 3 people talking to him to having many friends who care about him. He feels he owes it all to Waguri. On their way, they see Waguri and her friends. Osami almost calls out to her, but is stopped by his friends, who remind him of their secret. Osami apologizes, saying it slipped out. One of the boys points out that Waguri was standing outside their school gate. Osami dismisses it, thinking the boy is confused. Rintaro, still lost in thought about Waguri, is brought back to reality by Osami, who asks if he's dating Waguri. Saku and Ayato are shocked by Rintaro's denial and Osami's directness. Rintaro, blushing, admits he doesn't know how to answer if he likes her, causing his friends to be amused. Osami offers Rintaro dating advice, claiming to be an experienced player. The others return and playfully hit Osami, reminding Rintaro that his secret is safe. Rintaro wonders how everyone seems to know his feelings, recalling a similar comment from a child and now his friends. He worries Waguri might also know. They start playing bowling. Osami's team is dominating. Both Osami and Saku are playing exceptionally well, leaving the others struggling to keep up. When it's Rintaro's turn, he can't concentrate in the match, and his fingers get stuck in the ball. Osami's team bursts into laughter, teasing Rentaro's side. Embarrassed, Rentaro steps away, saying he's going to grab a drink. As he sits there, he starts questioning why everyone assumes he and Waguri are dating, and wonders what dating actually feels like. Just then, Ayato joins him. Rintaro admits he can't concentrate, and Ayato asks if it's because of what Osami said earlier. Rintaro then asks Ayato what it really means to date someone. Ayato, however, admits he has no idea since he's never dated anyone himself. Still, Ayato warns Rintaro not to bring up the topic with their classmates. He adds that he's happy to see Rintaro opening up more lately, saying it feels like Rintaro trusts them more than anyone else. Before long, the other boys call them back to the game. As they head back, Ayato tells Rintaro that what he really wants is to see Osami's defeated face. With that motivation, the two return to the court with renewed energy, determined to win. Back at Rintaro's house, he receives messages from Osami, asking him not to order expensive food for their treat. Ayato jokes about seeing how it plays out tomorrow. A flashback shows Ayato single-handedly winning a game for them. Rintaro is happy to spend time with his friends and looks forward to more. Someone asks about their summer vacation plans. Rint thinks about spending time with Waguri. He realizes he should invite others too, so they don't feel left out. Suddenly, he receives a message from Subaru, which surprises him given the late hour. Subaru reveals that Waguri's birthday was on the 22nd of this month, a fact she didn't tell him. Rintaro is shocked. Then Rintaro goes to his mother and asks her where the best cake in the area can be found. His mother starts getting angry because she also runs a bakery. She tells him that, of course, the best cake is found right here. Rintaro insists that he needs confirmation and asks her to be sure. His mother becomes interested and asks why he's asking. Rintaro explains that he wants to give Waguri a gift. Since she always eats cakes from their shop, he feels a bit strange about giving her one of their own cakes as a gift, so he decided to get her a cake from somewhere else. His mother then says their cake is genuinely quite good compared to others. She then asks why he wants to give her a gift. Is it her birthday? Rintaro confirms that it is, and his mother is quite surprised. She then suggests that he should give her a handmade cake as a gift. Rintaro ponders this for a moment. His mother tells him to ask his dad about it, as he makes cakes exceptionally well. Rintaro mentions that he thinks his dad is probably busy. His mother reassures him that his dad loves making cakes and would be very excited to hear Rintaro wants to have one made. She reminds him that his dad made a cake the last time his friends visited. Rintaro agrees to talk to his dad. Rintaro goes to his dad, who is acting quite strangely and doing peculiar things. Rintaro asks if he's okay, and his dad says he's fine. Rintaro directly asks to learn how to make cakes. His dad is surprised and asks why he wants to learn. Rintaro explains that he wants to give a cake as a gift to a friend and that he wants to see her smile. Hearing this, his dad agrees. He's not going to make the cake himself, but will teach Rintaro how to make it. Rintaro is very happy about this. The scene shifts to school, where Rintaro looks utterly exhausted. His friends are surprised by his appearance and ask what happened. Rintaro explains that he's learning to make cakes and it's really tough. His friends are happy to hear this, and Osami says he'll be the first to taste Rintaro's cake. They ask him again why he's learning to make cakes, but Rintaro, as usual, doesn't tell them and leaves quietly. Next, we see Waguri-san thanking Subaru profusely. Waguri's birthday is coming up, and Subaru is always there for her, so Waguri is thanking her. Waguri's other friends suggest that she should celebrate her birthday with them. Waguri agrees, saying her birthday is on the 22nd, but she'll be busy then, so they can celebrate on the 23rd. Everyone is happy and agrees to the 23rd. Subaru then messages Rintaro, letting him know that Waguri is free on her birthday and to go ahead with his plans. Rintaro is shocked at first, but then gathers his courage and messages Waguri directly, asking if they can celebrate her birthday together on the 22nd. Waguri is overwhelmed with a mix of happiness, nervousness, and excitement. She realizes Subaru must have told Rin. She calls Subaru and scolds her for telling Rintaro. But Subaru says she knows Waguri wanted to celebrate her birthday with Rintaro and thought she should fulfill her wish. Waguri blushes, unable to say anything, and Subaru tells her to enjoy her day and hangs up. Waguri is truly happy, unable to believe she'll be celebrating her birthday with Rintaro. Meanwhile, Rintaro is diligently practicing making cakes. He works hard and finally finishes one. His dad tastes it and says it's neither great nor bad, just average. Rintaro is happy with this feedback, considering he's been failing miserably until now. He goes to change, and his dad talks to his mom, remarking that Rintaro seems happier lately. His mom is pleased to hear this, as they both see a significant positive change in him. The next scene shows Rintaro on his way to meet Waguri, feeling very nervous. He's worried if the cake is good enough, or if his dad just said it was to comfort him. He finally reaches Waguri's location and is flustered seeing her. He gathers his courage, wishes her a happy birthday, and gives her the cake he made. Waguri is delighted by the cake and wants to open it immediately, but Rintaro tells her to open it at home. She insists she'll just open it there and won't eat it. They then head towards a park. Waguri takes Rintaro to a park she used to visit often with Subaru as a child, her favorite spot. She finally opens the cake, which looks very good. Rintaro, speaking slowly, admits that he made the cake himself. He mentions that he knows she likes their shop's cakes, so he wanted to try making one for her. Waguri blushes, not knowing what to say. She tells him she'll call him later that night when she eats the cake. Rintaro is pleased to hear this. They spend a little more time together before saying goodbye. After Waguri leaves, Rintaro is happy because he saw the smile on her face that he wanted to see. Waguri, on the other hand, is ecstatic. She can't stop taking pictures of the cake and is impatient to eat it, even though she wants to wait for her family. She takes a bite, finds it delicious and thinks about Rintaro. Rintaro's parents are confused by his strange facial expressions. His mom asks what's wrong, wondering if he didn't like the cake. Just then, Rintaro gets a call, which he was eagerly awaiting from Waguri. He rushes to his room and immediately asks Waguri how the cake was. She tells him it was delicious and her family loved it too, especially her younger brother, who ate the whole thing. Rintaro is relieved and happy. Waguri then asks him to make her another cake. Rintaro readily agrees and promises her. Waguri is thrilled. After a bit more conversation, they hang up. Rintaro rushes to his dad, exclaiming that he wants to learn to make even better cakes during summer vacation. His parents' first question is how the cake he made was. Rintaro says it was very good. His dad, looking serious, tells him he knew he'd make a good cake. His mom has a peculiar reaction. His dad then jokingly warns Rintaro that learning from him is tough and he won't have time for anything else. Rintaro gets scared, but his mom intervenes, telling his dad not to joke like that and that she won't let him mistreat Rintaro. His dad backs down, saying he was just kidding and will teach him kindly. Rintaro agrees to dedicate his entire summer vacation to learning. His dad then asks him about the cake, which part Waguri liked best, the bread or the cream. Rintaro tells him. His mom looks at Rintaro fondly, happy that he always has a lovely smile now, thanks to Waguri. This is exactly what she wanted for him. Then we see the group heading out on a trip by train. Osami is super excited, which Saku points out since Osami was up all night studying. Rintaro thinks to himself that he was up all night too, but he doesn't want to admit it. When Waguri arrives, Rintaro gets very flustered. Osami suggests they go buy some fireworks, and Saku directs him to a shop. As they head there, Subaru looks a bit down. On the way, they pass a food stand, and Osami and Waguri get excited and decide to eat first. Rintaro asks Subaru if she wants anything, but she says no. Osami and Waguri stand in front of the food stall, trying to decide what to get. Ayato calls Subaru over to look, and she joins them. Soku is annoyed since they were supposed to buy fireworks, but Rintaro tells him not to worry. Osami and Waguri can't decide, so they ask Subaru what she wants. She says everything looks delicious, and she'll have whatever they're having. Waguri notices Subaru's strange mood. Waguri then buys a bunch of snacks for Subaru and says they can eat them later. Subaru is happy and agrees. Saku and Rintaro go to buy drinks, and Saku asks how things are with Rintaro's dad since he's been helping out more. Rintaro says he only helps when they're busy or he's free, but he admits he really enjoys making cake now. Saku is happy to see Rintaro so cheerful. As they walk past another shop, Saku pauses. Rintaro asks if he wants something, but Saku says he'll just buy from Rintaro's family shop. Osami shows up and sees donuts, a favorite of Saku's. Saku says he's already bought too much. Ayato joins them and also urges Saku to buy the donuts, telling him not to be shy. Osami tells Saku no one will make fun of him, and Saku says they probably will since Osami is there. Waguri and Subaru also arrive, and Waguri asks if Subaru wants a donut. Subaru blushes and says no, but Waguri explains that Subaru actually loves them. After Subaru also refuses a donut, they all head off to buy fireworks. Subaru watches them go, thinking about how tasty the donuts looked. They arrive at the beach, and Osami immediately runs into the water, and the others comment that he was just hungry a moment ago. Rintaro and Waguri join him, and everyone has a great time, including Subaru, who watches happily from the side. Later, Subaru is still feeling down and thinks to herself that she's happy seeing everyone enjoy themselves, but she's worried she might ruin their fun if she says something. She feels like she's only there out of obligation. Waguri calls her over, but Subaru is still feeling insecure. They all sit down to eat, and Osami immediately wants to go back into the water to enjoy the night. Waguri says they should all go back out, and the boys head back into the water. Waguri asks Subaru what's wrong. Subaru, looking at Waguri's face, says she can't hide anything from her and explains everything. Waguri then grabs Subaru's hand and takes him to the boys, but she gathers courage and leaves Waguri's hand and calls out to the boys. Then she admits that she's afraid of boys and feels out of place. She says she doesn't know if she deserves to be with them, but wants to have fun with them anyway. Then we get a flashback to when Subaru told all of this to Waguri, who told her to look at how much fun everyone was having, and that one day she'd be able to join in. Subaru confesses to the group that she wants to be their friend, just like Rintaro said to her once. Saku splashes water on her, shocking everyone. He says he hates hanging out and studying, which confuses the others. He then explains that the reason he's doing it is because they're already friends, and he considers them friends. Osami agrees, saying they all feel the same way. Ayato thanks her for being so open with them. Rintaro says she's even weirder than him, and now he understands why she was walking alone on the way. Waguri playfully pushes her and she falls, but everyone asks if she's okay. Subaru cries, saying she is okay. They all watch the sunset together, and Osami suggests they light fireworks. While they're lighting them, Subaru looks hungry. Saka reveals he bought her a donut, and she thanks him. She She thinks to herself that she learned to love herself, and them too. She starts lighting fireworks with everyone, and Waguri notices how much she's smiling, which makes Waguri happy. The fireworks run out, and Osami wants to buy more. He drags Saku along, and Subaru also says she wants more. Osami is overjoyed, and they all go to the store. Rintaro and Waguri stay behind, and Waguri suggests they light sparklers. She asks if they should save some for the others, but Rintaro says no, the others wouldn't like them. Waguri thanks him for everything he did for Subaru. She says she knows how much they all care about her, and Rintaro says he was happy that Subaru was able to be so open about her feelings. Waguri says it was tough for her, but she's changing. Rintaro says that it was all because of her, that he has changed so much since they met. Waguri blushes. He says he feels so happy when they're together and sad when they're apart. Waguri hears him and pretends not to, asking what they should do next. Rintaro says they have all summer. She says the day went by so fast and that she had a great time. Then Rintaro confesses, "I like you, Waguri." Osami suddenly appears, ruining the moment. He asks why they're blushing, and Rintaro says it was from the sparklers. The others don't believe him and drag him away. Waguri is still blushing, and Subaru tells her it's time to go. They both can't stop blushing on the way home. Rintaro goes home and can't stop thinking about what happened. He wonders if he made a mistake and if Waguri is angry with him. He feels relieved to have gotten his feelings off his chest, but he knows he has to deal with the aftermath. We then see Waguri, who is also flustered. Subaru asks her what's wrong, but before she can answer, she gets a call. She thinks it's her family, but it's Rintaro. Then we see Rintaro, who is waiting for Waguri. Just then, Waguri arrives, wearing a yukata and looking absolutely stunning. She apologizes, saying she's a bit late. Rintaro tells her there's no need to apologize. He then thinks to himself that he will never forget this day. We are shown a past scene where Rintaro was calling Waguri. He was thinking this would be the first time he's called her. He gathers his courage and makes the call. He thanks her for picking up the phone and for the great time they had today. Waguri says she also enjoyed it. He then gathers more courage and apologizes for what he said while they were lighting sparklers. He asks if they can meet again to talk about it, adding that it's okay if she says no. Waguri agrees to meet Rintaro, and she shyly suggests they meet at the summer festival. The scene returns to the present, where both of them are blushing heavily. Rintaro says Waguri's name, and Waguri says Rintaro's name, and neither of them can say anything further. Then Waguri suggests they should eat something. Waguri eats an apple candy and finds it very delicious. Rintaro thinks about why he can't say anything. Rintaro then points out that she has something on her cheek. Hearing this, Waguri acts like a child, and Rintaro laughs heartily. Waguri tells him he shouldn't laugh like that. After this, they both decide to enjoy the festival. They do just that, eating a lot of things, playing many games, winning prizes, and overall, spending a lot of time together. Waguri says honestly, she ate a bit too much today. Rintaro then suggests they should rest for a while. Rintaro asks if her legs are hurting from walking so much. Waguri says she's fine. They come very close to each other at that moment and start to blush, and a sudden silence falls for a few seconds. Rintaro decides he has to talk to her now. He loved the festival. He calls Waguri-san's name, and Waguri-san looks at him with affection, and he says, "I love you," directly. He says he loves her very much. Rintaro then says that when he first saw her smile, he thought it was the perfect smile, but he couldn't say anything to her because of their school's problems. But while lighting the sparklers, he understood that there was something between them, just like there is between every couple. He knows that he might be acting a bit greedy right now. He could have spent more time with her without telling her, but he didn't want that. He wanted to tell her the truth, and honestly, he wants to spend even more time with her. He says he always wants her to be with him and to go somewhere together. Rintaro then apologizes, saying he might have said too much, but he's told her everything in his heart. Then Waguri says, "I know you are still not fully satisfied." She then asks if he remembers their first meeting. Rintaro says yes, he saw her eating a lot of cake. Waguri says that wasn't their first meeting. She then reveals that he saved her once, and that's the reason why she always came to his family's shop to eat cake. Rintaro couldn't remember when he saved her. She says she remembers that day very clearly. It was last winter when it was snowing, and she had forgotten her umbrella at home. She thought she should quickly go home, or she might catch a fever. But then she saw his cake shop, and honestly, she loved eating cake. But that day, she didn't feel like eating cake at all, but a lot of warmth was coming from inside the shop. Because of this, she went inside his shop, and the first person she saw inside was him. And when she took the first bite of the cake, it felt very warm and comforting. She hadn't eaten such a good cake in a long time, and honestly, she couldn't stop her tears. She cried so much there, and at that time, he came to her and cheered her up. She knows he might not remember that. Rintaro starts to panic, saying, "Yes, yes, I remember." Waguri then laughs a lot and says she knows he doesn't remember anything, and he doesn't need to worry. She then says she knows that if anyone else were in her place, he would have done the same. But still, he saved her at that time, and his kindness was truly amazing. It made her very happy. That's why he shouldn't feel bad if he doesn't remember. She is not angry. Waguri then says, "Rintaro, you just said that you didn't want to bother me because of school, but we met at a place where our school names don't matter at all." Literally. After this, Waguri is shown getting ready with makeup, new clothes, and styling her hair perfectly. Honestly, she was very excited that day, and while leaving, she was wishing that she could talk to him again. And when she talks to him, her heart beats very fast. She then goes to the shop, and his mother now knew Waguri quite well since she had started visiting frequently. Waguri tells her which cakes she wants, and then she sees Rin. She gets really happy seeing him, but she thinks he's always in the kitchen. So how will she talk to him? She thinks, what's the use of wearing such nice clothes? But she then says, still, the cake here is quite delicious, and this place gives me a lot of peace. I wanted to come here again and again for only one reason, to meet that employee who is quite fair and has such lovely words. I just wanted to talk to him. I would love to talk to him again. The next day, his mother tells her, I think you're going to taste all the cakes. Waguri says, yes, because all the cakes are quite tasty. His mother says, my husband will be very happy to hear this. Waguri is shocked to hear husband. His mother then points out, the person in the black outfit is my husband, and next to him is my son. After hearing that, Waguri is literally stunned. She thought he was just a normal shop worker, but now she knows he's her son. His mother says he's also in the first year of high school. Waguri now thinks of herself as quite stupid for mistaking him for a worker. She blushes and quickly runs away without saying anything. But Waguri was happy because she finally knew his name, at least his first name. She kept coming to the shop for a month, but was never able to talk to Rintaro. Waguri eventually gave up hope. She thought she would never be able to talk to him. She even decided to stop going to the shop. But one day, she was walking, and it was raining heavily. She was also hungry, and seeing the cake increased her hunger. She didn't want to go inside, but she somehow went in again. She looks for Rintaro, but he's not there. Waguri says, I want to eat cake here today, and his mother is quite surprised because Waguri usually took the cake to go. Waguri starts eating the cake, but then a worker comes to call his mother for some important work. His mother says, you eat your cake, I'll be back. Waguri continues eating the cake and says, the cakes here are really tasty. She starts thinking about Rintaro again, then tells herself not to think about those things and focuses on eating the cake. Then she looks next to her, and literally, she says, that was the first time I made eye contact with you, and I was so scared. I was very excited at the same time. She was thinking, honestly, my luck is quite bad. I wasn't wearing a cute outfit that day. I was wearing a terrible one. Thinking all this, she kept blushing. She says, you were looking at me so intently that honestly, I couldn't control myself at all, and out of shyness, I immediately ran away from there. After going outside, she thought, how much of a fool I am. She felt like giving up, but she thought she couldn't give up this easily, especially not like this. Literally, the next day, she goes to the shop and tells his mother directly, very shyly, I need to talk to your son. I have something important to discuss with him. Rintaro comes there, and seeing Rintaro, Waguri becomes shy again. She wanted to talk to Rintaro about that day, but she didn't have the courage to do so, and she just says, why don't we sit together and eat some cake? After this, Waguri is shown in her school, and she can't focus on her studies. She keeps remembering the moment when Rintaro saved her from the delinquents in episode 1. She thinks, I shouldn't focus on these things. I should focus on my studies. She goes to open the curtain to distract herself, and as soon as she pulls back the curtain, Rintaro and Waguri look at each other. Waguri was totally surprised. She was about to call Rintaro's name, but Rintaro closes the curtain before she can. Waguri was very happy now because she finally knew that Rintaro was from Chidori High School, and she could meet him whenever she wanted. She wonders if this is her first love. Waguri then stands up and says, Rintaro, my name is Waguri, and your name is Rintaro. We shouldn't care too much about our schools. You enjoy talking to me, and I enjoy talking to you, and we will talk. Thank you so much for talking to me. If you don't object to what I'm saying, can you accept me? Literally, after this, she also says, I love you, Rintaro. Literally, the thing they had been waiting for all this time. Waguri finally says it. Rintaro then says that when he saw behind the curtain for the second time, he didn't think he would be able to see a world he had never imagined. It was her who extended her hand toward him with her strength. And that's the reason why he got to know her so well. And with this, our lovely episode ends here. And that brings us to the end of Season 1 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Thank you for joining me through this heartfelt journey of friendship, courage, and breaking barriers. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.